before we end tonight, one of our Vietnam vets who's with us tonight is asked to say just a few words to all of us. So, Jim? This is Jim Hardy, who's a new friend of mine and an Army combat veteran who is an artist and combat photographer. So, Jim?
Thank you, Jerry. When I got out of the Army in I'm a World War II veteran. I was born in 1944. World War II era veteran, I guess. So, my father was at Pearl Harbor. He was a Navy pilot, and this is a picture of him. I brought it tonight because I thought maybe Chuck and some of these gentlemen may have known him. And they worked with him, but they didn't know him at the time. But he died in December last year at the age of 98 and a half. And he was so full of life, just like these gentlemen and you ladies here. So full of life, it's just a humbling experience. He told me about his experience at Pearl Harbor. He didn't talk much about World War II, but he did talk to me about Pearl Harbor. And his story parallels very closely the stories that you heard tonight, so I won't talk about that story. But I do want to talk to you ladies. When I got out of the Army, I had the GI Bill, and I went back to San Francisco Art Institute and got a master's degree in art. And I was a combat artist in Vietnam and a combat photographer for the Army. But I got my master's degree in 1972, and I got out of school with my master's degree, and I looked at that piece of paper, and I thought, this ain't going to buy me a cup of coffee. And I went down to John O'Connell Welding School in San Francisco, and I learned how to weld. And I'm a Local 6 Boilermaker. And I welded for 25 years with the Boilermakers and the pile drivers. And when all the shipyards closed down in San Francisco, I became an inspector, and the last 15 years I was a retrofit steel inspector on the Golden Gate Bridge, busting a lot of the rivets and putting in high-strength bolts. So I got a nice pension out of that, and things turned out really well for me. But what I want to say about the welders, the women, I taught at Hunters Point in the evenings for the Boilermakers Union, and the best welders were the women. And do you know why? Do you know why? Because women pay attention to detail. And they know how to sew, and they know how to cook, and they're clean. Men are not that way, overall. And the women, I had 6 women in my class, and the women were always on the bench. They weren't being dispatched to the jobs. And I wrote a letter to the union, to my bosses. I said, look, you got to put these gals to work. And they said, Hardy, just teach welding. You let us worry about who we dispatch. But I prevailed. I kept working at it, and I got them all out there on the jobs. And before I leave tonight, I would be so honored if I could have a picture of me with you ladies, Boilermakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.